north here. Today is the first day of the Can-Am 250, and they started in Fort Kent this morning. So that's really cool and something that this area does every year. It's really neat in Fort Kent where they start. They plow snow into the road, the actual main road, so that the sled dogs can get off on their way. It's kind of neat where they line people up and everybody gets to cheer the teams on. It's a really neat experience. I'm just heading out today on a cruise. I wanted to do kind of a little road trip, hoping to get down to Blackstone Road and do a loop, but I might not do the full loop. We'll just kind of see how the day goes, and I wanted to bring you guys along. The woods out here are so beautiful, especially when they're snow covered, so why not share it with you guys? So we've gone through 2 towns so far. I started in Eagle Lake, and we've gone past Quimby Village, and we are almost entering Winterville. We'll also be going through Buffalo and Portage Lake, Nashville Plantation, and that's about as far as we're going to go in that area. We're going to turn left onto Blackstone Road if all goes well. If not, we'll make another plan. Best part of days like this is there really are no plans. There's just an idea of what I'd like to do, and if we run into any detours or reasons why we can't go down to Blackstone Road, well, we've got other options. I was thinking of going into the North Maine woods. I haven't been in the North Maine woods all year, so I might just do that. We'll see which way my car pulls me when we get into Portage. We'll see if I stay on the main road or if I end up going into the woods. So for those of you who didn't watch the video, I posted explaining how my car is back to better. My transmission has been fixed, and by the graces of God, I had the knowledge to get that part and to find someone that was willing to put it in, because a lot of places don't work on transmissions. They're pretty leery of transmission work because there's so much liability attached to it. But I did find someone that was willing to work on my car, and they were able to change the part that I thought it might be. I'm really glad that it worked out. So I have not had any issues with my transmission since then. I have a intermittent O2 sensor code that comes on and off, which is not super concerning, but it is something that I need to keep in mind. I think what I'm going to do is buy the front pipe, which has the converter in it, and the O2 sensor, just so that I have them in case when they go to take the O2 sensor out, it doesn't want to come out. So that'll be my next kind of big expense for the car, but otherwise it's doing really well and been getting me back and forth to work just fine, so I'm really happy about that. Boy, the thought of having to change my transmission was not a very great thought, not a great feeling, so I'm really glad that it all worked out. And yeah, this is kind of my first big adventure since I've had that issue, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting out into the woods, hopefully seeing some tracks and maybe some animals. This is going to be a bit of a longer video. I will film a lot of the travel, so it's going to kind of be like a road trip. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm really glad they haven't salted the roads yet, because when they do, it turns into slush, which is really nasty. It kind of likes to pull you around when it turns to slush. So I'm glad they're just plowing right now and leaving some snow on the roads, because I feel like it's a little easier to drive on when it's like this. This is one of my favorite views in the fall, because you can see so far and you can see all the trees. It's just a beautiful little spot right here. Hedgehog Mountain is on your right-hand side. Nothing stops the Hannaford trucks. I'm telling you, those guys have got to have some cojones to travel these roads when they're like this. Especially the hills that are down here in Portage. You are going 25 miles an hour because it's in town, and you have to go up this huge steep hill, so a lot of trucks get stuck going up it and go off the road going down it. So it's a very dangerous hill, so dangerous that they've actually put a LED construction sign out before the hill and after the hill, so that they can warn in case a truck is stuck on the hill, which has happened numerous times. It happens every year, actually. So to the left, right here, is Pennington Road, and that is a road that is plowed. We could take that road, however, I did take that road not too long ago, so I'm going to head up a little further. We might go through the Portage gate into the North Maine woods, just because we could potentially meet the sled dogs. They should be coming through to Portage like in the hours of 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So hoping that by some chance I can kind of catch that, and I can show you a couple of the sled dog teams. But that would be a total by chance in the perfect place at the perfect time. So we'll see. We're now coming up to the crest of what they call Susie Hill in this area. This is one of the worst hills. We're in Township 14, Range 6. So they call it T14R6 for short. This hill has always got the worst weather. Sometimes you'll drive, and until you get to this hill, it's not raining or snowing, and then you get to this hill and it's raining or snowing. It's kind of interesting. It has its own weather system, pretty much. And a lot of moose on this area, on this hill, in this area, excuse me. One thing I like about this car is, even though I would prefer it to be a standard, it has the option for manual shift. So now that I'm at the top of the hill, I'm going to go ahead and drop it down a gear and just let my engine slow my car down. This hill, you can get going 80 miles an hour by the bottom, even if you're not trying. So you really have to be careful, and you really have to go slow, especially in weather like this. So I'm just going to let my engine slow my car down more so than my brakes. I will use the brakes as a backup. And I'm just going to coast down this hill. I'm not going to touch my gas pedal, and I'm very gently holding the brake while I am using my engine to slow the car down. You can see it is starting to get a little slushy, so they have salted this area, which kind of stinks because the salt is just terrible for the roads. It makes it so slushy and pulls your car all around. I'd honestly rather it just be snow, but person's being extra cautious. Good for you. From Indiana, I think that license plate said. I wonder if they get snow in Indiana. Do you guys get snow in Indiana? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let off my manual shift and just coast. My foot is still on the brake, and I'm just barely going 40 miles an hour. little bit of speed. The speed limit right here, obviously not right now because of the weather conditions, but the speed limit on this road is 55. And word of the wise, the locals do about 70. It's just an interesting fact in this area. The woods boogers, if you will, the loggers, everybody who works in the woods travel these roads at a pretty high rate of speed. So that includes big trucks, that includes the operators. So you'll see them usually hauling butt on this road. So get out of their way. They don't really have a right to be breaking the speed limit, but it's kind of something that the police in this area turn their nose to. They don't bother with it. I work at a store here in Portage sometimes on the weekends, and there's a couple of mills nearby, so there's a lot of log trucks going through. And that big steep hill that is there, they like to get speed to get up it, so they'll go like 50, 60 miles an hour past the store, which is only 25 miles an hour, and nobody ever stops them. They never get pulled over. I don't know why. There's a couple of things that kind of get their eyes, they kind of turn away from the police do, is the speed of the loggers and the work trucks and the LED light bars. Everybody and their brother has an LED light bar, and it seems like they don't realize how bright they are to oncoming traffic because they don't usually turn them off. And boy, oh boy, it makes it so that you can't see the road when you're coming at someone with those LED light bars. Two things about this area. It's just the way it is. Now, I'm definitely not saying I do 70 miles an hour on these roads because it's pretty dangerous, but there are a lot of people who do. Part of the reason I think also is there's such a long distance between, say, where they work in the woods and where they live. In the woods where they're cutting, they have to drive like 2 hours in the woods just to get to where they're cutting, and then they have to drive 2 hours home. So a lot of them are like a horse going to the feed barn and just trying to get there as fast as they can. Again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's okay, but it does happen. Even in the woods roads, you know, they fly. We're not going to do that today. We're going to take our time and we're going to go under the speed limit and just enjoy this beautiful day. It is so pretty out. Everywhere I look, it is gorgeous. Snow-capped trees and just white, beautiful, clean, pristine-looking forests. I love it. I'm looking forward to going to Millinocket tomorrow morning and spending the day down there. We'll see what kind of trouble we can get into. We always have fun. Every time I visit my friend, we always have a good time, so it'll be fun. And I have no idea what we're going to do, which is, like I said, those days are the best days. No plans, just go with it. Pretty out, you guys. I hope that you can see the beauty in this as much as I can. I feel like a kid in a candy store, so to speak. I feel very privileged and very blessed to be able to live in a place like this. You know, northern Maine is so much more difficult than I ever thought it would be to live, to survive here, to find work, to make friends, everything. It is so different. It is such a different area than that of which I've ever been in. But I'm finally starting to figure it out. I'm finally starting to feel blessed for where I'm at and not feel so lonesome. This area can pull that out of you really easily and make you feel so lonely and so out of touch with things. But the fact is we're really more lucky than a lot of folks that can't see this beauty every day. And I don't mean to sound like a snob about it or whatever, but we really are very blessed to have this in our lives every single day. And I'm just glad that I'm finally starting to accept it and understand how lucky I really am to be up here. You know, it took me a few years of feeling really lonely and wishing that I wasn't here, wishing that I didn't move this far away from everybody and everything, but I'm just now starting to feel like I've got a good thing going, you know, and this is an area that I've always wanted to be in, and I made it myself. I came up here all by myself, and so I'm pretty proud of that. I came up here without a plan, without a job, and let me tell you, the first couple of years that I was up here, I was worried. I was very worried about my future, about what was going to happen. There were times where I didn't know if I was going to lose my apartment, and there were times, you know, I was in some struggle since I've been up here, but I have somehow pushed through it, and I'm so grateful that I actually stuck it out, because I'm really lucky. I really truly am, and I really truly am blessed to have what I have. I may not have a ton of friends. I may not be the big popular girl, but the friends that I do have, they are priceless. They are amazing people. And I have to tell you, I live in Eagle Lake, but the people in Portage are amazing. I work in this town, and so we're just now coming into Portage right now. We just went through Buffalo. We're coming into Portage Lake. And the people in this area are wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful people. You know, of course, in every town there are bad people, but the people in this town are exceptionally wonderful. And I feel more comfortable in Portage Lake than I do in Eagle Lake. And it is kind of weird, but it's so true. And I'm really glad that I get to work in this town, and I get to spend time with the people that live in this area, because they're wonderful people. Absolutely wonderful people. If I was to ever choose a place to live up here and to buy a home, it would probably be in Portage Lake. Doesn't need to be on the lake. Of course, I would prefer, honestly, to have a more wooded area instead of being right on the lake. But just, it's a wonderful area, a wonderful place to be, and honestly, I recommend it. I recommend Portage Lake wholeheartedly. And there are rentals that you can rent right on the lake, and the folks who own those rentals are really great people. And I know them personally, and I can vouch for the places that you can stay. They're wonderful, they're clean, they're everything you'd want. So highly recommend Portage Lake. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. And so, yeah, I think today we're going to go into the gate through the mill here in Portage and just drive around a little bit. No plans. I'm not going to confess that I'm going to go so far. We'll just see where the day takes me, where the road takes me. And now they've got this sign saying Slippery Hill, but they've also added dog sled crossing, because they are going to be crossing here. Actually, the first team probably already crossed, which is pretty cool. So I really want to just keep the camera rolling, because you never know, we could see one of the dogs in town. And I wanted to show you a little bit about what the area is like. I was just thinking, I was like, oh, that's Dennis's house, and that's so-and-so's house, and that's, I could name so many people in this area, more so than the town that I live in. Oh, goodness. I guess back in the day, we crossed a railroad tracks back in Eagle Lake, and I guess back in the day, it was like a no-no for Portage people to cross the tracks, so to speak, and that was the thing. Like, the Eagle Lake people stayed on their side, and the Portage people stayed on their side. I find that kind of funny. The old rivalries between different towns and families, and one part of the family wants to do one thing and the other part wants to do something else, so they split up and do their own things. There's a golf course up here on the right-hand side, just a little ways, and I've heard it's a really beautiful golf course, really great golf course. I know the people who own it work there and tend to it. They're all really great people. And this is the infamous hill that a truck gets stuck on every single year. And this is the infamous hill that is the reason that they put that construction sign there, that LED sign. Portage Hills Country Club off there to the right-hand side, you can see. And that's Cindy Tardy's house. I guess I probably shouldn't be saying her name and everything. That guy right there at that house, he always comes into Coffins to get a Coca-Cola. He's a stickler. He'd always get a bottle of Coca-Cola, and it would be $2.25, and it was always $2.25 for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, of course, everything went up, and then it was $2.57. But yeah. Oh, and we got Brian down here snow blowing his driveway. Call Brian the mayor of Portage, but he's not. He's just a familiar face, and he works at the town and volunteer firefighter. And that's Russell's house, and Carla's over here, and Garrett's house, and Gloria's house, and Ben's house, Tammy's house. So many people that I know in this town, and they're all wonderful people. To the left-hand side, you guys, is Coffin's General Store. That is the store that I work at part-time. And you've got Dean's Motor Lodge here. You can eat there, sleep there. They have a ton of snowmobiles there right now. We might get lucky and see the sled dogs, but we'll see. They do go across the lake. This is Portage Lake out ahead of us. And if you see that little green building there, that is where I get my water. It is an artesian well. Ooh, is that a sled dog team? I can't tell if that's a snowmobile or a sled dog team out there on the ice. This over here to the left-hand side in that yellow building is an antiques guy. He's very interesting. He has some very cool buggies that he builds, and he collects all sorts of things. He's kind of an odd duck, but he's a nice guy. Over here is the public beach area for Portage Lake. They've got a little playground and a really nice beach. Some little lean-tos that you can have a lunch at. Nice little picnic tables underneath them. This is called West Road, and we are heading into the North Maine woods. This guy right here on the right-hand side, he's a trapper. He's a very well-known trapper, a very well-respected trapper. And as I've said in many of my videos, I have the utmost respect for those who do trapping, who do it responsibly, and he is one of those people. I have no gripes about his business trapping. Now we are going to take this left-hand turn. We're going to go through the Maine Woods Company mill. That is how you get into the North Maine woods in this direction. So this road has not been plowed by the looks of it. Rocky Brook should be plowed. If it's not, we'll probably turn around, but it should be plowed. There are 2 snowmobile crossings that we need to be careful of. One is right here. We just need to keep our eyes out because they don't always expect you to be out here. This entrance into the mill is so rough and so bumpy. I might have to fix the camera a couple times because I have a feeling it's gonna fall, but we'll do our best. So you can see here we are entering the Maine Woods Company mill, and they have stacks and stacks of wood over to the left that go for quite a ways. They've got their processing plant over here. There is a scale house up here to the left. And they've got some processed lumber there. A couple of trailers parked. I don't see any trucks. Usually there are trucks parked there. Just a couple trailers. And we are in the North Maine woods, guys. This is Rocky Brook Road. Just gonna take a quick look to the left. Nobody's coming. So the roads haven't been plowed recently since this storm. So there's about 4 to 5 inches of snow on the road. But it's not that bad. It's actually nice to ride when there's that much snow. So I don't mind at all. My car's good in the snow. In the ice, it's not so much, but that's pretty much with any vehicle. Ice is always the bad part of the winter. Sometimes it doesn't even matter. If you have studded snow tires or 4-wheel drive, you're still gonna spin in the ice. So happy that it's not icy. Sometimes they'll grade these roads or plow these roads, and then it will get really icy and it's scary out here. So happy to see that it's not like that. We're just gonna go for a little ways. I know they're not plowing Hughesbrook Road. I was gonna turn around at Hughesbrook, but we'll see. I might turn around up in another spot. We'll see how far we go. Just happy to be out here finally. This is the first time I've been in the woods for months and months, guys. I missed it so much. Trail up here that crosses over the road, so I'm going to be careful of that because I think that's the one that the dogs come through on. Actually, they would have had a sign, so they might have rerouted them. They might not be going across this way because there's usually a sign saying dogs crossing. They're usually really good about that, making sure that there are signs, just because it's not something that people are expecting. Oh, that's a coyote, guys. Do you see the coyote? Oh, he was quick. Hopefully some of you guys have me on the big screen and you could have seen that coyote. Yeah, he just took off right through those woods. Let's go check out his tracks. That was my window. What are you doing? Where'd you go? Huh? Where'd you go? I'm gonna just move you guys and take you out the window. Let's go check out his tracks up close. Or hers, it could be a her. See that? Where'd you go, Bubby? Probably watching me. Alright, let me get you mounted back up here. Alright. Well, that was cool. Got to see a coyote. Did not expect that. Good thing to get him away from where the sled dogs are, though, so I'm glad I scared him off the other side of the road. Don't need him causing any trouble for any of the other dogs. So there are many hazards for the sled dogs while they're out here up in northern Maine on the trails. We have moose and coyote. We also have lynx, but they tend to not bother them. However, a coyote might, and definitely moose, because I think what happens is it's just more alarming for the moose, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know why there's this creature through the woods that, you know, is potentially a coyote to them. So I think they get surprised and fight or flight kicks in. Well, that was really cool to see that coyote. I don't think I've ever filmed a coyote, maybe one other time. I've definitely seen them, just not filmed them. I saw a black coyote. Oh my goodness, that was really, really cool on Red River Road a couple of years ago when I was working out there. And that was a really neat surprise. Same thing, ran right across the road. A little closer to me than that. That was really cool. I know a lot of people don't like coyotes, and I totally understand. I understand both sides of the coin, but I am fascinated by them. I think wolves and coyotes, I think they are amazing creatures, and I think they are very misunderstood, dare I say it. But I also do understand conservation, and I understand that they do need to be kept in check. Just like any of the wild animals, they do need to be kept in check, or, you know, they will take over in their own sense. So that's a tough one. I have a lot of friends that probably would have sped up to hit that coyote and kill it, but I would never do that. Ever, ever, ever. I had someone come into Coffins last weekend when I was working, and like, oh, I just hit a coyote. What did he say? I just pummeled a coyote. And I was like, you did what? He's like, yeah, I just pummeled a coyote. I ran across the road and I took off after it. So what we just passed is the North Maine Woods Gate. So if you're coming in here when it's in season, you will have to stop there and register and pay to continue. What a beautiful day. This is just perfect for me. I needed this so much. If it wasn't snowing, I could go out on my snowshoes and film, but my camera isn't waterproof, so I can't do that. So this is the best I can do for you guys today. I'm gonna get right out of this guy's way. You see what I mean about they fly down these roads? They're just used to it. Just went over a pretty little brook. Excuse me. Excuse me. So that means we probably won't see any critters for a little ways because he just scared them all. What a beautiful, beautiful day though. Temperature right now is 23 degrees Fahrenheit for anybody who's curious. And this snowstorm brought about 4 to 6 inches of snow. Pretty out here. I just can't stop saying it. I'm sorry to repeat myself, but yeah, it's just beautiful. I've had this like runny nose, like kind of catchy thing for quite a while now, and it doesn't seem to go away. And what I'm wondering / worrying is if I've developed an allergy to my cats. Because it's never gone into anything more than just kind of a little runny nose, scratchy, coughy a little bit. You know, I never have like a sore throat or a fever. So I'm like, geez, do I have an allergy? A cat allergy? I hope not, but if I do, I do, and I'll just deal with it. But it's not too bad. It's not so bad to the point where I feel like I need to take medicine for it. It's kind of just annoying. I halfway expect to see a moose here pretty quick. Not sure which direction I want to go up here. I guess it depends on which way the road's plowed. This road has been plowed at one point this season. There's a campsite on the left-hand side here. If you're looking in the North Maine Woods maps, it's called Gleason Brook, Gleason Gleason Brook Campground or campsite. There's a lot of beautiful places to camp out in the North Maine Woods, and I totally recommend it. But if you come here, you want to make sure that you have enough gas to drive around, because the campsites are first come, first serve. So you never know if you're going to drive for 2 hours through the woods to find a campsite and you get to the one you want and it's taken. So you have to prepare for that and prepare to drive around and find one if you have to. There are some times, like 4th of July and certain times of the year, where you probably won't find a campsite. You'll probably drive around forever without finding a campsite. When I was working in the woods at Red River Camps, which I highly recommend you guys, if you ever wanted to go stay in the North Maine Woods, I highly recommend Red River Camps. When I was working out there for 4th of July, we had a group drive up and say, he's been driving around for 4 hours. Looks like a supply truck. He had been driving around for 4 hours and they could not find a single campsite. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And we couldn't offer him a place because our site was full. Our campsite was completely full. Check it out. Old school camper. Yeah, buddy. Yeehaw. Sugar plums, the stuff you see in the North Maine Woods, huh? Only God knows what that was all about. They could be loggers that were camping out here, or they could be part of the crew for the Can-Am. They could be carrying supplies or whatnot. Who knows? Could be drug cartel coming from Canada. I mean, this goes straight to Canada. No joke. But anyway, those are some very sketchy looking trucks, I'm not gonna lie. Very interesting. It's too bad they're not plowing Hughes Brook and the way that I could get back home, because I could take Hughes Brook Road and go out through the Winterville gate and then get home that way. But instead we're going to have to go back this road because it's not plowed out. But it's no problem with me. This is so beautiful out here. That camper just makes me laugh. Like, yeehaw, buddy, good job. Oh, shoot. I wonder where they were staying or what they were doing. Gotta keep your wits about you out here. I mean, you see me riding kind of in the middle of the road. Well, that's because that's where the tracks are. But you have to be really careful because someone can come up at a moment's notice and you'll have to kind of scoot your car off to the side. But if you ride on the side, you'll likely get sucked into the banking and you don't know where a culvert is or a hole because the snow's covering it. So you are actually kind of just as safe to kind of stick to the middle of the road and go slower so that you have time to pull over. You've seen a couple of vehicles come at me now and I've got plenty of time to get over. If it's a spot where I can't really see, I will pull myself over to the side just to be on the safe side. But for the most part, you've got a pretty good view of the rest of the road and you can tell when someone's coming. Like on a corner like this, I'll tuck over to the right-hand side a little more just in case someone comes whizzing around that corner. Especially if it's a truck, like a log truck. You don't want to meet a log truck on a corner. I literally have so much excitement right now and so much joy. Just being out here makes me feel so good. I don't know if anybody can sympathize with that feeling and understand how it feels, but I've got a big old smile on and I just feel amazing out here. I love this. I used to do a lot of snow wheeling with a big group of friends that I had in New Hampshire, and they're just such cool stuff just to be out here and to see all of the scenery covered in snow. It's just amazing, and it's such a cushy ride. When you're on a snow-covered road, it's pretty, for the most part, it's pretty cushy and smooth. In fact, these roads are smoother in the winter than they are during the summer. I don't know if any of you guys had heard about the German Shepherd canine that lost his life in Portage. There was a unfortunate shooting in Portage, Maine, Portage Lake, not too long ago, where a dispute between a husband and wife happened, or boyfriend, girlfriend, I'm not sure if they were married or not, in which the gentleman had his baby in his hands, and when the cops tried to detain him, basically used the baby as a shield and ran into the house, tried to hide in the house, and I guess he tried to get away. He snuck to a garage on his property and tried to take a vehicle out of the garage, and I guess at some point, I don't know when the canine was shot, but I was told a couple of different stories, so I don't know what to believe. But one of the stories was the canine was trying to apprehend the person, essentially biting the person, and he shot the dog. The dog was brought to the vets to try and save him. However, he ended up losing his life. So, the folks who put the Can-Am together, they're wonderful, wonderful people. And they are trying to put together a memorial for the dog. Preacher is the dog's name, and they're trying to put together a memorial. And what they're actually having the people at the Can-Am do is all of the teams have a purple rose that is going to be collected in Portage, and they are going to be taking donations and hopefully putting up a monument in memory of Preacher. So I find that just amazing. You know, it is unfortunate because after this person shot the dog, he then was shot to death. So unfortunately, the man also lost his life. However, he wasn't in his right mind, and who knows what else he would have done, who else he would have shot. There was a standoff, like there was a SWAT team and everything. There was no joke. So it's unfortunate that the gentleman lost his life as well, but it is beautiful that the town is going to come together and have that monument for Preacher, who essentially is an officer and lost his life in the wake of duty. So I just wanted to share that, just because I know a lot of people are local, or not a lot, but I do have some local viewers, so you might find that nice that they are going to do a memorial for Preacher, and they are hoping that the handler is able to be part of the ceremony. So I find that just a beautiful thing, and you know, it just goes to show what a wonderful community we have here in Portage. So we're just going by Moose Point Camps, and we also passed Fish Lake campsites. Boy, that camper crew came from quite a ways because I can still see their tracks here. So they came from down this way. There are some houses on the lake out here, so it could be that they're coming from there. Who knows? Should be seeing a moose, guys. I feel like we should see a moose. Hey, a lynx would be cool too. That coyote was really awesome. When I'm out here, I feel like I just want to keep going. I don't ever want to stop and turn around because what's around the next corner, you know? I always want to know what's around the next corner, what's around the next corner. It gets addicting for someone like me because these roads, you can literally drive out here for days. Thankfully, I know these roads really well, and I've been on quite a few of them, so it's kind of fun to go out and just cruise because I know kind of how to get around. You could follow a map too. I would definitely suggest having one of the North Maine Woods maps along with the Gazetteer. Some of the names of the roads differ and some of the spellings are incorrect. We found out a couple of years ago that the Gazetteer printed Togue Pond as Tongue Pond, and what was the other one? There was another one that they mispronounced. Pushineer. It's Pushineer, but they called it Punisher. So I find that very funny. Someone was making a couple printing errors. All right, so let's see. Is the road plowed? So it is not plowed to the left by the looks of it, which is fine. Is it? It's not. So that's Car Pond to the left. That is a really popular place for snowmobilers, local snowmobilers. A lot of locals also have camps out that way, so they like to go hang out at Car Pond. You always hear that in Portage. We're going to Car Pond, we're going to Car Pond. Well, that's where Car Pond area is. I've been to Car Pond, but I've never been there on a snowmobile. Looks like we're getting into some deeper snow, so I'm probably going to find a place to turn around. Back further, it had been plowed at least once, but this looks like it hasn't been plowed for a little bit longer of a time. So we're gonna probably turn around. I don't want to get myself into a pickle, but we'll see. Got a lot of traffic through here, so I'm lucky in that case because I've got a kind of a plowed track, if you will. You can see the tracks of the vehicle. This looks like a good spot to turn around because I've got a nice backup area right here. Too far just because I don't know how deep certain spots are, but there's a moose crossing right there, or there was a moose crossing. All right, I'm gonna head back. I'll probably pause the video for most of the way back and just kind of show you some things on the way out, but essentially, guys, that was my first trip in the North Maine woods for about a year. That was well needed, well deserved, and I'm glad you guys joined me. Those of you who are still with me, still watching this video, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for your continued support of watching my videos, and thank you for taking the time just to see what's going on in my life. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to make a promise that I might not be able to do daily or weekly videos, but I want to promise one a month. For sure, one a month, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a lot more. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do at least one every couple weeks, but you guys have to also understand that I do work weekends along with during the week. I have my 40-hour-a-week job, and sometimes I get called in to my second job to work the weekends. So that's going to pose just a little bit of an issue for a little while, until they can get someone else hired at the store. They're looking to hire someone. They ended up just losing someone, so that's why I was called in last weekend. This weekend I am not working because I'm going to Millinocket, so I had asked for this time off, but next weekend I will be working. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge getting back out there making videos, but I want you to know that I'm going to do my best, and at the very least I'll get you out once a month. Sorry about the wipers, guys. I went to wave to the guy and my hand hit the wiper blade thing. Anyway, so yeah, once a month for sure, hopefully more often. Maybe the ones that are, maybe I can make some shorter videos, maybe just kind of some walks out in the woods type of things, but I'm going to do my best to make as many as I possibly can for you guys. I know you look forward to them, and I look forward to making them because all I'm doing is filming the stuff that I love to do, so it's a win-win for me. I figured I'd film going back through the mill yard because on this direction you can see more of the lumber that they have, of the wood that they have piled up, and it's just a better angle to kind of show you the mill. And I think it's pretty cool. Again, this is Maine Woods Company. And if you look to the right, that is where their lumber is stacked, and where it kind of waits to be processed. So those log piles go for quite a ways down that row. And it's really neat because there's a couple of trails through the woods that you can get to the backside of those piles, and I came up to them one day. I didn't even know where I was, and it was kind of neat that I'd found out where I was because I'd come up this way, and I was like, holy crap, that's the lumber mill, and I really had no idea. I was just kind of following the trail. So those log piles go quite a ways down. And I know you can't really see that when you're coming the other direction, so I thought I'd continue filming at least to show you that. And this area is also an area where they have deer yards. And up here, there are only a few places, but they have been feeding deer for 100 years or so, probably longer. So the deer know where to go, and they travel all around. They have deer that travel through from Canada. They have just everywhere. And so this area is well known for the deer yard. So you just have to be careful coming through here, not to hit any deer. I'm surprised I haven't seen any at all. Alright, we're back on West Road, and we are almost back to Portage Lake, or to Coffin's store in Portage Lake. So I'll end the video there just to give you again another view. You weren't able to see the store very well from when I came in. And we're also going to be going by Dean's, which they're probably packed right now. I'm imagining they're packed with snowmobilers right now. Going by the beach spot over to our left. Someone from Connecticut. We have a lot of people from Connecticut that come up here to snowmobile and do use side-by-sides. There's Bobby Joe. Hi, Bobby Joe. Oh, the townies. Anyway, that shooting was right up here. And I'll show you the road. If you see that tan Toyota pickup off to the left-hand side there, go right down that road, and that is where the shooting was. It is Ranger Street, right there on the left. So the sled dogs must be coming through here because they have all the signs out. That is Coffin's store. And we're just gonna take it easy because the dogs are probably coming through here. Well, we didn't get to see any sled dog teams, but you can see how it gets busier towards the time that they're supposed to come through. It's about 3:30, and they should be coming through here anytime. I'm gonna head home, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.